Greetings to the Honorable Yusuf Husseini and to yourself. I need to commend you for how you have migrated from the small journalist to the colossus that you are today. And to also remind you that you are probably the only journalist who could force me to attend a midnight program in the Ashanti region. I will leave Accra and get to Kumasi. And when the program is done, I will be in the next available bus coming to Accra.
What memories you bring?
Having said that, I've listened keenly to, but I didn't hear any spokesperson for Kennedy Agyapong as you were doing your
we may try.
Yeah, I didn't hear. So I listened to 3 of the current contestants.
That's correct. That's correct, yeah.
And in listening to the 3, Ellen made the point that Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia has served the party for 16 years. And that is the greatest achievement of a vice president that has served the party for 16 years. But I do know Kennedy Agyapong, for instance, has served the party since 1992, so 31 years. Akoto Afriye Atopa has also served the party for nearly 30 years. And of course, Addai-Nimoh has also served the party for 30 years. These 3 have at one point in time been in parliament, contributing enormously to grassroots building of the party.
Right.
So if Akoto was in parliament representing Kwadaso, Addai-Nimoh representing Mampong, Kennedy Agyapong representing Asin North, and that is not enough contribution to the new patriotic party, then it is the 16 years that somebody was selected as running mate that constitute sufficient service to the party.
There's somebody who brought them victory.
Well,
victories.
I'm not sure that Kennedy did not play a part in that victory. And you cannot exclude the role that Akoto Afriye played to that victory. Neither can you exclude the services that Addai-Nimoh played. One man cannot lead to a political victory. It means that everybody within the political space played a role. The fact that you have been put as the running mate does not mean that it is your running mateship that brought the party to victory. In fact, there were people who were on the sidelines. People like Sami Awoku, people like John Bwedu, people like Hamid Mustafa. The kind of impact they made, particularly on the youth, probably the vice president could not have made that impact. And so all those put together made it possible for the new patriotic party to win. So let's not...
But they themselves admit
let not
that
one person...
but for the intervention of Dr. Bawumia, they couldn't break the NDC's monopoly in our part of the country, as in the regions in the north, as happened with Bawumia. So they themselves are the ones touting it, that he was
There's
there.
no doubt about people trying to fish out and embellish their status. And the vice president himself did that. One of the things the vice president did in the Upper East region was to say that why he brought about the innovation, digitalization within our Ghanaian economy. And I ask you, Samson, aren't you aware that Edward Salia was Minister for Transport and Communication?
That's correct.
Aren't you aware that the liberalization of the telecom sector started with Edward Salia? Aren't you aware at the period where Mobitel came into this country and you could hear the adverts, Mijina Abontin and Ameka say, at that time Bawumia was the one leading the chart? Aren't you aware that Ghana Telecom, which eventually gave birth to One Touch, was at the time John Mahama and Spio Gabriel were deputy minister and ministers together. And so if you take the process and the transition that I keep insisting that probably before I joined politics, I was working for Internal Revenue and we're doing typewriter, manual typewriter. No time we got the electronic typewriters or electric typewriters, and no time computers came. We had these big desktops with floppy disks and what have you. I'm sure you remember the progression. And then today, we all used to run to what we call busy internet. I think it's being used for something. Everybody who wanted to get some information on the world needed to get to busy internet. That was the only place probably, or one of the few places you could access internet. Today, the internet is in your palm. How did the vice president contribute to that internet in our palm? Just tell me. And so
I thought that you were saying that to admit that the politicians should admit the incremental contributions
precisely,
of each other.
Precisely.
But you cannot write...
No. The point I'm trying to make is that when somebody arrogates to him or herself what has been started in bits and pieces to get to a certain point without appreciating that these processes did not start with you and will not end with you, then it means that you want to call yourself the Alpha and Omega. And no one will agree to that because the evidence that I've just put across suggests that, look, these processes were there and they will continue to evolve. These days, people can actually walk with their phone somewhere and then they'll be talking, isn't it? So many revolutions within the telecom and for the digital space are ongoing. So when you are a user, not a producer, we are actually users, then we cannot be gloating over it. Right. Having said that, I think that is important to look at, particularly the guy who spoke for Addai-Nimoh.
Okay, George.
He made a point that by their assessment, and somehow I was like, I didn't take notice of that any time you brought in somebody who has been a part of the system, they've not been able to cross over 8 years. When they serve their 8 years, they stumble. And he cited that why Atta Mills could not break the 8. He moved on to cite Akufo-Addo could not break the 8. And cited John Mahama could not break the 8. And so somebody who has worked with the system has never been able to break the 8. That is fact. And so that is how come they feel that Addai-Nimoh has not been part of the system. In fact, the system that we know today has been very adversarial against Addai-Nimoh. You know that. On many counts, they will not even allow him to contest for parliamentary primaries. He has suffered, but he has been consistent for the past 3 elections within the New Patriotic Party. He goes in there, he gets the nod to go into the second round. After every special delegates, he gets the chance to participate in the main elections. And so you cannot discount the fact that when nobody gives him a dog's chance, and from day one, you will not think that Addai-Nimoh is on the ground. And yet he has been able to get into this. So no matter what, it means that there are some people within the New Patriotic Party who are committed to ensuring that he gets it. And of course, I listened to Ken Nwosu, and he says that they didn't come here as jokers. They came in, they managed to be part of the top 5, and here they are. They are going to contest and to prove the point. I am looking forward, if Kennedy Agyapong starts saying that people are corrupt. Kennedy Agyapong says that people are stealing our money and they are snatching it away. There is evidence to prove it. Aren't you aware that at one point in time, the bank accounts of Ghana, our embassy in Brussels, was closed because of money laundering issues? That it had to take, and sometimes that is the problem I have. It had to take Inus Husseini's minority. No, not minority. But the minority belongs to all of us. Inus Husseini's NDC MPs to join with their colleagues to go to Brussels, to go and kneel down and beg the authorities to say, please, this is about Ghana, it's not about the New Patriotic Party and Nana Akufo-Addo. So, yes, if you close the bank account, it will have ramifications for us. But I thought that since we are failing to stop the siphoning of our resources, our money, outside, and the Belgians are taking a step to say that, look, don't use our country as a base, that the minority would have supported and probably to call for other countries to begin to find out whether our accounts are being used to launder monies and who are those monies being laundered for. So when Kennedy Agyapong comes to say that people are stealing our money, the evidence is there because formally we know that these things took place. And so I think that what I want to tell people is that the New Patriotic Party, as a political institution, have done well. The party executive side.
So the question we're asking, as a trade of these allegations, particularly in the last few days to today, do you think that they are able to do what the General Secretary, for example, says? He says that NPP will come out from November 4 elections stronger. That's Justin Kodia. Gabia Astro-Chiridako says that don't be fooled to think there is this unity in NPP. And he says they will come back stronger. There are others who say this has been the pressing of the button of self-destruction.
Well, if wishes were horses, we are told beggars who ride. And so these are the wishes. Otherwise, why will the NPP compel people to come and sign a declaration that win or lose, we will stick together? Why didn't they do that before the special delegates Congress, about the 900 people? So the exit of Alan Chremanting and the pronouncement of Kennedy Agyapong.
I think it's a repeat. They did it.
The pronouncement, they did it.
The candidates signed
that declaration, yes, and Alan went.
Yes.
And they have not gone to court to stop him from going.
They suggested they could go to court to stop him, but so they know that.
You as a lawyer, you know that the rights, fundamental rights to association and de-association is guaranteed in Chapter 5 of the Constitution.
That's correct.
And so they can decide to associate with the New Patriotic Party or not to associate. So no declaration can come and invalidate constitutional provision. And so the NPP, I'm told that they are a club of cuckoo dams. So if you are the club of cuckoo dams, you should have known that this is a no-starter.
Right. And
so it's important that those pronouncements are made. But what is important here is that look at also the crowd that Alan pulled.
Yes.
That was shocking to me.
They said they are not just like members for
that
votes.
Was very shocking to me.
These are volunteers who are going to do.
And you know that Fridays are happy days for me as well. So
okay.
Yesterday night I met some of Alan's people. I met Hope Sinadoi. I said, Bernard, the things we are doing on the ground, people have no idea. And I could see from where we were that even in the midst of wanting to have some distressing, they were moving from table to table and engaging with people. I just noticed that they spread and they were doing it. I'm like, wow, we don't do politics only at serene places. Even in unorthodox places, they started a certain move. And I think that we should watch out. Finally, Samson, let me say that I wish the New Patriotic Party well. But I must conclude by saying that for the time that I have lived to be fully active in party politics, this is the most uninspiring array of presidential candidates that the New Patriotic Party has ever presented.
Okay.
From 1992, just go to look at the caliber. Just go to look at the metal that each one of them brought to the table. And come and look at the caliber of people who just run their mouths like diarrhea looking for the landlord in the house. From Kennedy Agyapong, the vice president has ceased talking about the economy, and he's no more talking about the exchange rates, he's no more talking about inflation, he's not talking about the GDP growth and its impact on the citizens' life and well-being. Kennedy Agyapong comes to say that the vice president knows who killed Ahmed Swale, one of your colleagues. And as we speak, there is no official response to say the vice president doesn't know. So if as vice president, you know who killed the Ahmed Swale, a journalist, and the police are struggling to find the killers, then in the unlikely event that you become president, how many will you kill? So I see also, I don't know how it is.
No, but you have been told how not to take seriously allegations made by Kennedy Agyapong.
Which one is that?
Which one are you using?
Is it not the same Kennedy Agyapong that showed the picture of Ahmed Swale? And everybody said he was just talking anyhow. And in the same Ahmed Swale was killed. If you don't take his pronouncement serious, I do.